Presenting the CW Crew.
Hey everybody, John Foss, and I am very excited and honored to be talking to the original Flash, John Wesley Shipp, right here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So we brought this here for you. This is your son, right?
It's that's Sonny Boy. Yes, I'd know him anywhere.
And this is what a lot of people are seeing on the CW today, but you're actually part of this series.
Yes,
Tell us about
am.
that.
Yeah, well, they asked me to come back in 2014 to play his father in a new telling of the origin story. Emmett Walsh played my dad in 1990. He was not wrongfully convicted of killing Priscilla Pointer in front of a 10-year-old me. But when I heard that was how Jeff Johns had sort of blown up the Allen family, I was like, if they come to me, that's the role I would want. And that's the one they asked me to play. And I thought that I got to play just a really good, realistic role and pass the torch at the same time, but as a father-son blessing, you know, which I thought was less on the nose. Now, it's like, surprise, you're Jay Garrick, and then surprise, you're Flash 90, and you know, I just got back from shooting my part of the crossover, and we got big stuff coming
Wow,
up.
Tell us about that. Can you give us a preview?
I can't say anything
anything?
other than that I just got back from doing the Flash part of the crossover. Of course, it's 5 episodes this year.
Which ones? I mean, can you tell us which shows are involved?
It is Arrow, Supergirl, Flash, Legends, and Black Lightning.
And is this corresponding with the finale of Arrow? Is that right, I think?
I'm not exactly sure how that's going to work, you know, but yeah, big doings. I think Flash will be episode 9, which will be at the beginning or at the end of the first part of the season, and then there's the mid-season break, and then the 2 episodes of Crisis. So it straddles the mid-season winter break.
Okay. Can you give us a little preview of what your character, how he comes back in?
I can't.
You can't?
I can't say anything because I'm terrified, because at a Q&A once I dropped the name of Legends of Tomorrow.
Oh, really? Before it was out?
They had, you know, I got a call from my friend.
Shut
As soon as I go over, it was like, can you cool it? It's your
Yeah.
Q&As. We haven't announced the name yet. I was like, oh my God. So
Did
now
people
I
catch on? Or did
oh my God. It was like,
Was it
I had
all
to
over the
see it, people. I
internet?
was like, in an aside, I say, of course, there's this new show, Legends, and I see all these
everybody
eyes
realizes.
going like this, and
Yeah.
then I see the tops of heads as they all went down to their phones.
It's immediately hitting Twitter.
Immediately.
Yeah.
John Wesley Shipp just dropped name of new superhero show in Q&A. I was like, I felt so bad because I have to give it to the publicity department at Warner Brothers and CW for the way they handled the announcements of the characters, the teases. They'll announce that I was going to be on the show, but they wouldn't tell anybody who it was going to be. Then when that died down, they announced who I was going to be, but they've handled it so expertly that I felt so guilty about jumping in there and sort of messing with their...
Maybe it was a
But
genius
they
in
forgave
disguise,
me.
you know? Because you got people talking about it, because it's controversy. You know, you're not supposed to say it, but you said it, now everybody's talking about it. So you're doing so many things, doing Broadway, doing movies, doing all these different types of roles. What's it like to come back every once in a while to play the Flash?
Well, it's great fun because it's a wonderful cast, and I love what they're doing with it. Of course, Greg Berlanti and I go back to Dawson's Creek. You know, he was the head writer on Dawson's Creek. And the thing I love about doing this version of The Flash, well, it was true with Danny Bilson and Paul DeMeo, too, in 1990. They're just big comic book fans, you know, and they were fans of my show in the 90s. I think it's one reason they've integrated so many parts of the 1990 show into the CW effort, because they're writing a show that they want to see.
Yeah.
And I think that gives it a special kind of joy that communicates. In other words, it's not being mass produced for a consumer audience, you know. They're writing shows that they get excited. When they had gotten Mark Hamill to come back, because he played Trickster in the original series and played it in the new, Andrew Kreisberg was so excited. He said, boy, have I got a surprise for you. You know,
that's cool.
They're like kids about it, and that is contagious. That enthusiasm and excitement, I feel.
1990s Flash versus 2019 Flash, one-on-one, who wins?
God, I don't know. I wouldn't even ever begin to bet against my own son.
Oh, well, looking back at the pictures, though, you got the size. You're like a linebacker.
I know.
I mean, you're hitting the weights. This guy, I mean, he looks like a kicker.
Well, it makes actually aerodynamically.
That's
I
true.
have to bust myself. The new version makes more sense
because
he's cutting.
It's speed. It's all about speed, right?
Through, but in 1990, we were still in the post pumping iron. Jose Canseco, Mark McGuire, you know, bigger than life thing. So that, of course, Bob Short Productions, who want to Oscar for Beetlejuice designed that costume, and Colleen Atwood, Oscar winner, designed the new costume. So
was it pretty crazy getting in shape for that role?
I was already
You were already there?
in shape.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you just had to maintain it.
And then
That's probably why they called you. They were like,
the problem was keeping the weight on because it was so hot. I was sweating so profusely.
especially when you were probably shooting long days, and then you have to
Incredibly
get in
long
the
because
gym
we didn't have
afterwards.
CGI.
Yeah.
And
was
so
all
we
real.
were, it's like Danny Bilson said, you know, when we wanted to blow up a semi full of new cars and shoot flames 45 feet in the air, we had to actually do it. So all night long on the back lot at Warner Brothers or somewhere in Southeast LA where the buildings were right and the architecture was right, you know, we would be blowing out windows in alleys behind Hollywood Boulevard. You know, it's like getting these special effects. It was a different animal then. They can actually shoot the new show, I believe. I'm not sure about the Crisis episodes, but I believe we did enter flash time in 7 days, which would have been unthinkable in 1990 because they have the possibility of CGI,
Absolutely.
which also means they can focus a lot on the relationships and the characters. You know?
And we're at GalaxyCon right now. What's it like when you see all the people, you get to meet all the fans?
Well, everyone is so enthusiastic. It's like someone said, is it exciting to be back doing the Flash again? And I said, what's exciting is how meaningful it is to the audience. You know, when they said they wanted me to get back in a version of the original suit, which was beautifully recreated by Kate Main and Ocean Drive Leather in Vancouver, and I was like, you what? Well, you do realize that was like, at the time, 27 years ago,
Yeah.
right? And they said, it's all right, we're giving you time. So I lost about 15, 20 pounds. So
Well, you look like you're in great shape now, so it's
well,
like,
thanks.
you know.
But she would have a waist
Yeah.
to build from, you know? And, but yeah.
Did you keep the original costume
Oh, God,
from
no.
the 90s?
They
took that?
Mark
They're like, this is going to be
Hamill
worth
and I-
money, we need this.
Mark Hamill and I was so done by the end of that season.
Oh, really?
And
You were burnt
'cause
out?
I was there 55 to 80 hours a week, you know, and all night long.
You're like,
days
take
to
your
night.
suit.
We shot the last scene as the sun was coming up and we were battling to get it in while it was still dark, me and Mark Hamill in Southeast Los Angeles. When they yelled cut, I ripped off the wings and threw them in the air and swore I would never get into another superhero
Really?
suit as long
You're like,
as
this
I
is
lived.
it?
I was like, I was so wrong.
You probably had no idea that, that was the beginning. And now it's so huge, like with Avengers
It's
last
amazing.
year.
Well, that was also the difficult thing because in those days, there were 4 channels, so you had to carry 20 million viewers in order to have a hit. It's very different now. You can have a hit with your core audience. Plus, we didn't have DVRs. If we had even with all that, if we had DVRs so that they could have just programmed and picked us up wherever they bounced us all over the schedule, we would have gone more than one season. But they began switching our nights. We were preempted for baseball. We were preempted for the first Gulf War. Daddy Bush threw up at a state dinner in Japan, so of course we had to see that. We cut away. And when comic book fans started saying we can't find you, I knew it was only a matter of time, you know. And to be working that hard and to be fighting for your audience at the same time, what made it extra difficult. Now, flash forward to 2014.
Flash forward.
See what I did there?
Yeah, I like that.
All of my puns are unintentional because I'm not that clever. No, we went to San Diego Comic-Con to premiere the new show, and Jesse Martin and I stepped out on the balcony. Of course, 80,000 people take over the town, and a cheer went up, and Jesse, who is unfamiliar with the audience, he's like, well, we haven't done anything yet.
Yeah.
So it was like stepping into a warm bath, as the audience was there. We premiered our pilot in Hall H. It was oversold, 7,000 people.
That's amazing.
And it's a whole different world. It's like, I always tell my Q&A audiences, I'm like, aren't you proud of yourselves? The rest of the entertainment industry has finally caught up with you.
Some of the best things people catch on later.
Yeah.
And you guys were definitely ahead of your time, because back then it was probably weird to be doing a comic. I mean, not weird, but different. Now it's so mainstream. Everybody's doing it.
Exactly.
It's so successful.
Exactly.
You guys kind of paved the way. So
That's
was it
what
weird
they
being
tell me.
uncharted territory?
It was. I was very cautious when they approached me, because up to that time on TV, comic book characters had been sort of spoofed, not taken seriously. And I'd already been on Broadway. I had 2 Emmys. I was coming from New York. I wanted to be taken seriously as an actor. And wonderful casting director, multiple Emmy Award-winning April Webster, who cast our show. And we had Bryan Cranston. We had Oh my God,
Bryan
Tina
Cranston
Turner.
was in the show?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's
he was
awesome.
a guest star. Angela Bassett. I mean, I could go on and on. David Cassidy, Michael Champion, who played Deadly Nightshade. Jason Bernard, great actor. We had a string of great actors. But anyway, she said, just read the script. Mm-hmm. And when I read it, they took the character seriously. Barry was this unblessed son of a family where real cops worked the streets, but he went into the crime lab so that the mother wouldn't be worried that all of her men might not come home that evening. And then he suddenly gets these powers that would make his dad so proud, and he can't tell him. I thought, well, I can relate to all of it. And then when he does get the powers, he wants to be rid of them. He's not, I'm going to be a Hugh Hollywood hero. He's like, I'm going to get rid of this. I don't want to know from this. And then his brother is killed. And then it's on. And then he says, I want a cowl to cover my face, and I want a symbol to strike fear in their hearts, and I'm going to avenge my brother's death. And I thought, I can totally play all that.
Yeah.
And so I did it. But I was self-conscious about being in the suit until Mark Hamill came roaring on screen as the trickster, working that unitard. And he was 120% that character. No reservations, no holds barred. And I was like, well, if Mark Hamill can do that, then I need to get over my bad self and just really commit. So,
what was it like to work with him?
Oh, his trickster in those days was nonstop energy. It was like, and our hours were ungodly. Most of our guest stars, by about the third day, would be walking around like zombies going, you mean you do this every week? Not Mark. He brought his A game to absolutely every single shot, and it energized the whole process. And I've managed to remain in contact with him all of his years. He and Mary Lou and Chelsea, and it's just, he's a he's not only a great actor, he's a very, very special human being.
That's cool. Could you tell that maybe you didn't get to work with him enough to be able to tell at that point, because it sounds like it was one episode, but Bryan Cranston, could you tell that he was going to be such a big star?
You just never know. You never know. I did have a feeling when I was holding Angela Bassett in my arms.
Yeah.
This is going to be a big star.
Yeah.
But I didn't pick up Bryan Cranston, so no. I mean, who knew? You just never know which characters will go, what decisions you make, what opportunities will present themselves. Of course, he has a fabulous career. I'm a huge fan now of his.
Definitely. All right, well, John, it was a pleasure to talk to you. I could talk to you all day. I'm getting the cutoff sign, so I gotta go.
Okay.
It was a pleasure talking to you. The original
you,
Flash, CW Twin Cities. We all love you.
Thank you
very
so
much.
The CW crew on the CW Twin Cities, DJ Bonix, Alexis Gore, and John Foss. Like, follow, subscribe to, and love the CW crew.